In the real world, Excel's logical operators are rarely used alone. These logical operators will return the values of true and false, which is not very meaningful. The return value can be modified by using the if statement in your formula, as today's video will demonstrate. Please go to the Logical Workbook and the Logical If tab to follow along in this lesson. Here we are on our spreadsheet, and I have added some data for us to work with. The following data will apply the if statement to the equal operator that we learned in the previous lesson. Column D will indicate if an employee is scheduled to work on Saturday and will apply a yes or no answer based on the formula. So the first thing we should notice, of course, is the equal sign, which is the beginning of any formula. Next, we indicate if. Now the formula is enclosed in parentheses and basically says if C3 equals open, then we will apply a yes. Otherwise, we will apply a no. So the first part of our formula is separated by a comma. So you have C3 equals open, with open being in quotations and separated by the first comma. That is the beginning of your formula. The second part, where you see the yes and the no, that will be your answers based on the criteria being met. So always remember that you want to make sure that you keep this information separate, and the answers should always be in quotations, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look at this data and see what information it reveals. Okay, so this is basically asking if Dion is scheduled to work on Saturday. If I place open in the cell next to Dion's name, then cell D3 will reveal a yes. So now that we have seen what the formula looks like, let's go ahead and write the formula for Felicia just for practice. So we'll begin with the equal sign. Let's go ahead and say if. Next, let's go ahead and get our parentheses. And let's click inside the parenthesis. Now Felicia's information will be referencing C4. So let's go ahead and say C4. And then let's say equal. As you can see, when I enter C4, it highlighted the cell that we are referencing. Okay, so now that we have the equal sign, we're going to put open in quotation marks. So let's say first quotation and say open and close the quotation. Now we want to enter a comma. Here's where we will indicate what we want the cell to display. If the information says open, then it will be the first answer that appears in quotations. Otherwise, it will be no. Okay, so let's write one more and then we may do an autofill. Let's write the next one for Frank. So this time we're going to click the cell instead of writing it. So let's go ahead and say equal and if. Let's get our parentheses and select cell C5. Okay, from here we'll say equal. We'll place the word open in quotation marks and close it out with a comma. Next, we will place the answer we want displayed if our criteria is met. So let's say yes in quotations for the first answer. Let's place a comma at the yes and then put no in quotations and close it out with the parenthesis. And since Frank is closing, this should indicate a no. Let's go ahead and select enter to see if we entered our formula correctly. Okay, so as you can see, the formula is entered correctly. Now for James, Jamie, and Tammy, I'm going to go ahead and drag the formula down. I'm going to click inside of cell D5. I'm going to get my black cross as we've learned in previous lessons, and I'm just going to go ahead and drag it down. So as you can see, James is closing, so we have a no. Jamie is opening, so we have a yes, and Tammy is opening, so we have a yes for Tammy as well. So I want to apply one more exercise using the greater than sign. So we're going to base this on overtime. We're trying to determine which of our employees qualify for overtime. So the formula we will write will indicate if the cell number is greater than 40, then return a yes. And if it is less than 40, then Excel will return a no. So we will follow the same basic rules. Let's begin by placing an equal sign inside of cell F3. Now let's go ahead and say if, and let's get our parentheses and select cell E3. Next, I'm going to add my greater than sign, and I'm going to type 40. And that is my formula. I don't need quotation marks because I am using numbers as opposed to word. So let's go ahead and place our comma. And then I want to go ahead and use my first quotation mark. And I'm going to say return a yes. I'm going to close the quotation out and enter a comma. And next I'm going to say no in quotations. And finally I'm going to go ahead and wrap it in parentheses and hit enter. Now because Dion has 46 hours, this formula should actually return a yes. Let's go ahead and click the enter button and see if our formula has been entered correctly. As you can see, the information is correct. Let's do one more for Felicia and then we'll go ahead and autofill. Felicia has 39 hours, so she does not qualify for overtime. So this time we're looking for Excel to return a no. Let's begin with our equal sign and say if. Let's begin our parentheses and go ahead and select cell E4. Let's get our greater than sign. And again, we're going to type 40. And let's go ahead and close it out with our comma. Next, we want to apply the information we would like returned if this is greater than 40 or less than 40. So let's go ahead and place quotation marks around the word yes. Let's go ahead and place a comma and place the word no in quotations. And finally, we'll close it out with our parentheses and say enter. Now again, this should say no because 39 is less than 40. So as you can see, our information has been entered correctly. Now I want to go ahead and autofill the remaining cells. Let's go ahead and select cell F4. Let's get in our black cross mode and let's drag it all the way down. Okay, so as you can see, Frank has a yes because he has 45 hours. James has a yes because he has 50. Jamie and Tammy both have a no because they both have under 40 hours work. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and close out this lesson, and I will see you in the next video. So that wraps up this lesson from Microsoft Excel. I hope that you are getting the most out of these level up lessons. Please do let us know if you have questions or concerns. Take a break if you need to, and we will see you in the next video.